What's up everybody and welcome back to my channel. This video breaks down Kailyn Lowry's toxic dating history over the years that she's appeared on MTV's Teen Mom 2. But first, let's start off with a little bit of background information on our girl Kail, shall we? Kailyn Lowry was born in Honesdale, Pennsylvania on March 14th, 1992 to a mother named Susie and a father whose name escapes me. Her mother is an alleged alcoholic and her dad seems to have just been a rolling stone with no real interest in actually raising the children that he fathered. He left her mom when Kail was just 6 months old, and Kail's only memory of him is when she met him for the first and last time in November of 2009. The first boyfriend that Kail had since becoming a public figure on MTV's 16 and Pregnant was Jo Rivera. Kail met Jo in high school when she was 15 years old, and because of her mother's struggle with sobriety, a revolving door of boyfriends, and difficulty maintaining a steady job, Kail needed to live with Jo's family for stability when they got pregnant with their son, Isaac Elliott Rivera. Jo and Kail's relationship was extremely volatile, and being teenage parents only exacerbated the issues they were facing, so it's really no surprise that they eventually wound up going their separate ways. Even though Jo and Kail were no longer in a romantic relationship, she continued to live with him and his family because she had nowhere else to go, given that neither of her parents were really in the picture. Jo's family graciously thought that it would be in their grandson Isaac's best interest that Kail stayed at their home so long as she focused on school and abstained from dating. Shortly after breaking up with Jo, Kail began working at a store called Sport Authority where she met and began dating her coworker Jordan Wenner. Kail was extremely shysty about this relationship because she was still living at Jo's house where she was banned from dating other people. Of course, in classic Kail fashion, she didn't think it was a reasonable rule and couldn't see why Jo's family wouldn't want to pay her housing bills just for her to be running around town with other guys, risking having another baby as a teenager, even though her own child wasn't even a year old at the time. She decided to ignore the rule, but wasn't smart enough to keep her trifling ways a secret, so she announced the relationship on Facebook and found herself kicked out of the Rivera home shortly thereafter. Once kicked out of the residence, she moved into an apartment with her son Isaac and continued her relationship with Jordan for just over a year until she infamously cheated on him with her baby daddy Jo and refused to apologize. Kail essentially told Jordan that his hurt feelings weren't her problem and eventually found that cheating with Jo actually exposed her to an STD. Could that have been her karma? The fourth season of Teen Mom 2 was released in 2013, and its initial episode revealed that Kailyn Lowry and Jo Rivera were no longer knocking boots the way they were in the cliffhanger ending of season 3. In fact, Kail had filed a protection from abuse order against her baby daddy after the two of them fought because Kail wouldn't allow his then girlfriend and now wife, V, to be around their son Isaac. Kail explained that the PFA was a means of protecting herself against Jo after he allegedly hit her on the arm and left a bruise. Jo fought the order, claiming that it was Kail who initiated the violence between them by slapping him across the face, and that he had only pushed her arm down to defend himself against her. The PFA was ultimately dropped when Kail and Jo both agreed to settle the dispute outside of court, with Kail admitting that she had primarily filed the order to send Jo a message. After her messy breakup from both Jordan and Jo, Kail went on to find another boyfriend through her next retail position. This time, it wasn't her co-worker, but rather a Teen Mom 2 fan named Javi Marroquin, who kept coming to Buckle, the store she worked at, to flirt with her. He eventually got her number, and the two of them would go on to date for 11 months before Javi proposed and Kail accepted his military benefit. I'm sorry, I meant proposal. It's worth noting that before the pair became engaged, Kail was shown on camera hitting Javi in the face after becoming enraged at him for not putting his dogs in the backyard when her friend came over to visit with her toddler. Almost immediately after getting married, Kail and Javi announced their first joint pregnancy with a son who they would eventually name Lincoln Marshall Marroquin. The marriage between the two of them was tumultuous, to say the least, with each party accusing the other of being unfaithful, Javi blaming Kail for miscarrying what would have been their second child together, and Kail continuing to physically abuse Javi, which she admitted to in a reunion special with Dr. Drew. They eventually began divorce proceedings by the time Javi was deployed, but the drama didn't end there. In 2017, Kail filed her second PFA. Unlike Jo, Javi decided to consent to the PFA rather than to contest it in order to protect his military career. Kail discussed her reason for filing the PFA with her initial PFA victim Jo Rivera on the show, who ultimately told her that he felt as though she and Javi could have worked through their issues without her taking things to that level, and Kail responded by laughing and telling him that it worked when she used it against him. As dysfunctional as Kail's love life already seemed at this point, it doesn't even begin to compare to the turbulence that she faced within her next situationship. While Kail was married to Javi, she enrolled in Delaware State University, where she earned a bachelor's degree in communications with a minor in Chris Lopez's sperm, granted in the backseat of her BMW outside of a strip mall parking lot. Given that she was already a freshly divorced, single mother of 2 boys from 2 different fathers in her early 20s who had been unfaithful to her military husband with her classmate Chris Lopez, the public opinion of her had reached an all-time low, which prompted Kail to craft an incredibly bizarre lie to excuse her unplanned 3rd pregnancy with a guy who didn't even have her saved as a contact on his cell phone. In the 8th season of Teen Mom 2, Kail claimed that a doctor told her that she wouldn't be able to naturally conceive again and that she'd have to rely on IVF if she wanted any more children in the future. She claimed that it was because of this phantom diagnosis that she and Chris would consistently have intercourse without any form of protection. Her exact words about the pregnancy were, and I quote, "It was not planned and not prevented. He knew I wanted a baby, and if it happened, it was fine." The narrative she crafted for her pregnancy didn't make any sense, given that she never shared an official reason for why she suddenly could have been diagnosed as infertile. Her story kept changing throughout the pregnancy, and to this very day, she didn't even know if Chris would want to show up for their child's birth or, let alone help raise this child that she claimed he was okay with having. And to this day, she may even be pregnant yet again and has always talked about wanting to have more children, but never mentioned IVF. Chris and Kail were no longer on speaking terms when Lux Russell Lopez was born. Though Chris showed up to his birth, Kail claimed he wasn't very involved with his son and that they kept fighting, which ultimately led to her changing Lux's last name from Lopez to Lowry behind Chris's back. Also done behind his back was naming the child after an adjective in the first place. Chris admitted on social media that he had no hand in even naming his son. From the outside looking in, it seems as though the relationship that they had was a very fly-by-night situation and that Chris was very happy with their booty call arrangement up until Kail got pregnant and he resented her for refusing to abort the baby. But considering the fact that he didn't do his part in preventing a pregnancy, I can't say that I feel bad for him at all. Their relationship has continued its toxic cycle to this day, with Kail's Teen Mom 2 co-star Brianna DeJesus outing Chris for allegedly hitting Kail back in 2018, and Kail filing a PFA against Chris sometime in 2019 that he was arrested twice for violating in October of the same year. It has also been reported that Chris tried to sign away his rights to their son Lux in the fall of that year, with the judge rejecting the petition. How strange is it that the father of this allegedly planned child would want to sign away his rights? As for where the 2 of them stand today, according to Chris's aunt and father, Kail is pregnant with their 2nd child due in July of 2020, and Chris has just been released from jail after being arrested for a 3rd time for violating Kail's PFA against him. So there you have it, a comprehensive look at Kailyn Lowry's turbulent dating history, where her parting gift to every man is a custom-made PFA. How do you feel about the way she's handled her relationships ever since we were first introduced to her on MTV's 16 and Pregnant and Teen Mom 2? Make sure to leave all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.